Welcome, this is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at a scenario where China formed an empire. This is a video I should have done in the beginning of this series. I will admit it, I do not know how I've not done China. Sure, I've not done Australia, I haven't done Canada, and there's definitely some other countries that you can point out for me that I haven't done, like Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Bangladesh, Korea, and South Korea to be exact. But how have I not given the third strongest country in the world, a huge country on this map, an empire? I think it's finally time we get this one off the list. I should have done this ages ago, but here we are, Chinese Empire. So, how is China going to be forming their empire? They have some very strong countries around them, and some countries that absolutely hate them. You know, you've got India, you've got Philippines, you've got Japan, South Korea. Well, they're going to be invading their weaker neighbours. Simple as, they're not really going to be touching these major powers. So, China will begin its empire by invading Mongolia. No shocker here, this is probably their weakest neighbour, if not Laos, but I'm 99% maybe not Laos, it would probably be Kyrgyzstan or Tajikistan. But, yeah, Mongolia's a wasteland with a couple million people living in it, considering the fact it's so big. So Chinese troops immediately move in and try and move up to capture Ulaanbaatar, which they literally do within a couple of weeks. And, to be fair, Mongolia's absolutely smoked. There's no way they're going to win this war. So let's take a look at the peace treaty. And as we can see here, fell on annexation. There is no mercy on Mongolia. Full annexation. With Mongolia down, we have China going after probably another one of their weaker neighbours. They're going to be invading Myanmar. Now, there's not really much people can say about China expanding. I mean, you know, Russia and USA are probably going to speak out, but, like, do you really want to? Like, one of the major economic powers of the world, they can literally, like, just stop selling you stuff if you speak out against these actions. The only country that's going to speak out against these actions is, well, India. So only much you can do against an expanding China, and, well, their troops are now rolling straight into Burma. Or Myanmar. I don't know which one it is. Myanmar is absolutely smacked around. They're going through stuff right now, I know they are. I need to research and learn about that. But oh my god, did they get absolutely thrown around like a plastic toy. There is no mercy for them, and they absolutely crumble to the might of China. And, well, in the peace treaty, we see full annexation again. So far, China has literally spared no countries. They are fully annexed in all these countries. And, why are they exactly fully annexing these countries? Well, because they can get away with it. Again, China is such a strong country. Like, these other empire videos, the country who is forming it has stuff happen to them, but China just doesn't. Honestly, they don't really have much going against them except from India. But China's not going to stop rolling here, because China is now going to roll tanks into Vietnam. This is a bit of a risky move. You know, Vietnam is one of a good US ally, but by the way, NATO and all that don't exist. I don't need to keep explaining. They're a good ally of the USA, but here you are invading them. But again, the USA will not be getting involved because that's World War III, and then that's World War III. China will move in and will see very hefty resistance. This has been their toughest war yet. They will take Hanoi and they will begin pushing down, but see no surrender from Vietnam, as they basically just chase Vietnam's troops all the way down the coastline. And eventually they get down to here, and by the way, they're using special trained troops, they're not doing another mistake. And we see no surrender from Vietnam. Even after Ho Chi Minh City's captured, there is no surrender. and Vietnam is completely captured. So let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, China will be annexing half of Vietnam, leaving the rest of Vietnam very crippled. Even though they still have Ho Chi Minh City, they just lost Hanoi, so oof. Anyway, next person on the chopping block, Laos. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, do I need to show this one? These videos get repetitive, and I want to get to the big war. I don't think I need to show you what's gonna happen to Laos. China invades and they fully annex Laos in the peace treaty. But, here we see China make a call, say something. Their intentions in Southeast Asia... Sorry, just gotta do that. China will claim that their intentions in Southeast Asia are fulfilled. They have no more intentions here, even though they probably wanted to invade Thailand. Now, they said intentions in Southeast Asia, not intentions about the world. Because Chinese tanks are moving to the border of North Korea, and when North Korea sees this, Kim Jong-un's like, oh crap, this is not good. And China's going to roll into North Korea. This literally does not have anybody say anything about it. China will just destroy North Korea. Their nuclear bombs just blow up in their own country. North Korea is not strong at all. And for annexation. Now, this may be hinting to what China has in plan for their next couple of moves, but, you know, they now share a border with South Korea, but we see China kind of pause. They don't do anything for a while. They begin to beef up the navy they have in the Filipino Sea. I think that's what it's called. But out of nowhere, they declare war on Taiwan. China will begin its invasion of Taiwan, and this is where, well, certain countries are going to react. To begin with, South Korea and Japan will both react. The USA will not. Australia will join the war. And, yeah, China knew this was happening. They were prepared for this. This is why they went on that quiet period. Now, it's not just these guys, because Vietnam joins this war. Yeah, kind of dumb, considering the fact China literally said they have no more intentions in Southeast Asia. But Chinese tanks and everything will absolutely destroy Taiwan and their navy. No hope there. But for South Korea, it's going to be a lot different. They're going to really struggle pushing in South Korea. We see a very painful push by China being done to push into South Korea, which goes successfully at first, but definitely starts to go against them. Vietnam, they take back some of the land. So, yay, they made a gain. They took back, like, some of the land. Sure, that won't get crushed by China's massive army. But at this point, somebody else has joined the war. Not the USA. It's a country that I've mentioned in this entire video, and they've been speaking out against China. India joins the war. And this almost has an immediate domino effect into Pakistan joining the war. Of course. And we have a little... This is like... well, this is actually a really big war. Right now, it's kind of mixed. I actually don't know who would win here. But considering that China is probably a little bit buffed, not completely buffed. I don't think we need to buff them much. But I don't think they need... I think I'm buffing their military here, not economy and all that. China seeing that India has just joined the war, it's going to make them pull their pants a little. I mean, this is the fourth strongest country in the world. You're the second. Yes, China's not stronger than USA, even with all the land they've gained. This might be hard to take on. Can you take it on? Well, China actually thinks they can. China will begin mass conscription for one of the biggest armies the world has ever seen. And India does the exact same. These two countries begin conscripting millions of troops. More than the invasion that the Germans did of the Soviet Union. Probably like 2 to 3 more million than that. It's probably around the 10 million mark, which is absolutely terrifying. With this, South Korea is going to be it's going to get stomped into a puddle. And China also, Yeah, okay, Vietnam gets stomped into a puddle as well. There's no way Vietnam is going to hold out against this. I guess we can say they surrendered, but I don't think they would. And now, they're just holding a naval stance against Japan. They have no interest in invading Japan. But now we see, the two giants clash. India versus China, and who's going to win? Well, you know what the video title is. China will beat the Indian army, but this is not an easy task. This is costing them tons of troops. China does use this propaganda to try and tell the civilians that it's for the better good, which gets them even more people in the military, and we see this takes months, but we see them being back India. But India's winning against Pakistan, so hey, at least India's winning in one of the sides. India's about taking this down here and this by here. But other than that, you know, you've got like about 15 million Chinese troops scurrying for your country, and we actually see the complete capture of this area, and we see a very sneaky invasion of Bhutan, but you know, nobody's gonna notice that, right? Yeah, surely. But it's at this point that the war's gonna stalemate. Nobody can get through. India has a very good defense right here that China cannot break through, and Pakistan is also on a good defense with Chinese troops arriving at the border. There is no movement in Japan. The Chinese and Japanese Navy are just like holding a stalemate there, not really firing all that much. Australia has troops in Japan in case something happens. So it looks like this war's a stalemate. For now. Because China just broke through the stalemate. This costed them about 1 million troops, but they do it, and they absolutely spread like wildfire. With China now breaking through and making an appearance into the mainland India, they'll immediately make a really painful push to capture Kolkata, if that's how you pronounce it. And this goes completely successful as they capture it. And at this point, India is just going to look at what they have and go, you know what? I'm out of this war. You take what you've earned. We are leaving. We will take land from Pakistan. You take land from us. It'll be a win-win for everyone. Okay? And China's like, sure. And Japan's out of it. They can't take South Korea back. With India leaving the war, you really don't have any hope. Like, if the USA was involved, this would be a whole lot different. This would definitely end in a blue team victory, but the USA is not going to get involved here. So let's take a look at how China will divide up this peace treaty. So, taking a look at this peace treaty, we can see that a lot has definitely changed. And China is probably the strongest country in the world now. Why do I say that? Because they're getting a lot of very valuable land, and this was their goal to begin with. To begin with, we're going to begin with India and Pakistan. India will be annexing 2 pieces of the land, which is definitely going to hurt Pakistan, but I feel like India definitely still lost here, considering they lost this entire Panhandle area. But China will be fully annexing this Panhandle area, ending one of the disputes, not all of them. Surely this won't lead to another war in the future if this became a series. Won't become a series. If I were to continue this probably would escalate into another war between Pakistan, China, and India, just those 3 dueling it out. It would be a Chinese victory, but it would be a very painful one. But we can see that China fully annexes Bhutan and the entire Panhandle. And for South Korea, they are fully annexed, which is a huge gain for China. Like, that is scary. One of the most developed countries being annexed by one of the strongest and most developed countries who gets more tech. Japan's hurt. They are forced to give up some sanctions and all that to China. Vietnam's turned into a puppet. Kind of funny. And Taiwan is fully annexed. Now, is China done here? No. Because China is going to be jumping one more country. They're not done with this empire just yet. They still feel unsatisfied with the land they have. So they will be jumping Russia. And there is no way on earth Russia's winning this war. China jumps them with the exact same troops they used against India, and there is no way Russia's winning this war. China will immediately jump on this land over here, and will begin to take it. Sakhalin, yep, that's Chinese now, that's completely gone. And very quickly, we just see China completely take this valuable area over here within a couple of weeks. The place where Tenatuva used to be, yep, that's turned Chinese area. And to be honest, it's not going to be shown. It's not going to be. It wouldn't be true, but really, China just takes over all this land. Now, by the time Russian forces arrive, China's built a wall, an impenetrable wall that Russia cannot break. Russia will be forced to accept peace treaty. And it's not going to lose a lot of land, but it's definitely embarrassing that you just got jumped by one of your, technically, allies, finger quotes. But let's take a look at how China will deal with Russia in the peace treaty. And in the peace treaty, Russia doesn't have a huge loss, but they lose. Russia will be losing this area of land over here, this section of land over here, and Siberia will be released into a puppet of China. The Chinese Empire is done. They've beaten up all their enemies and friends. Not even allies, I'd say friends. And they're happy with themselves. This probably one of my favourite Empire videos. Yeah, I mean, it was fun to go back to one of the overpowered countries and just give it an empire. Sad that we don't really have any more overpowered countries left, other than South Korea and Australia. But other than that, this was fun. I enjoyed it. But that's going to do it for this video. Really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.